I don't really understand this argument, but let's listen to what a pro boys and girls sports person looks like outside of their party, because we already know it's Democrat. Let's see.
Francesco, I can see you actually going berserk here with indignation. So presumably you don't agree.
I mean, please don't speak for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, either of you, please don't speak for me. Please don't speak for all women. Just let's get that out of the way right now, because I do disagree. I think about what if your 12-year-old kid was Aiden? Wouldn't that be incredible? Wouldn't you be proud of Aiden?
No.
And how much would it?
No, absolutely not. Unless
he's a boy competing against girls.
Had not even reached.
It's not his fault. You'll let him.
And in the case of my daughter, for example, and someone is trying to convince her that if you just put your hand up and say that you're a boy, you can suddenly compete against a different biological sex. I'd say it's all madness.
This is what's crazy about it. Do you think that that's what's driving trans women to compete as athletes? Is that they're
kids.
If I transition to become a woman, I can win a gold medal in a high school track and meet competition.
Hang on, Francesca. I don't care.
It's so absurd to me.
I don't care.
Thing. Hang on,
Francesca, I don't care. The reality is they're doing it, right? And the point is, that to me, the answer is obvious.
They're not doing it to win a medal. They're doing it because that is their identity.
But they're winning medals at the expense of actual women who can't compete with them physically. It's why.
If you add 1,000 children more to identify the opposite sex, when it comes to sports, you're gonna have to have female A team, which would be all the boys, and the female B team, which would be all the girls. But the female team.
You know what? I actually Googled this. Hang on. I'll come to you too.
I'm embarrassed to be a woman when I see women freaking out about trans women.
Wow.
One out of so many competitions.
It's not just one.
Okay.
It's happening in swimming with Leah Thomas. It's happening in all sorts of sports.
Yes, because it makes us look really pathetic, honestly. It makes us look like losers and whiners. And guess what? I'm not a loser or a whiner. You know what I actually want to talk about when it comes to women's sports? Why is Caitlin Clark being paid 80 times less than her counterpart entering the NBA?
Well, that's quite straightforward too.
Women don't want to talk about that.
Hold on. Can I ask you a question? Hold on, Francesca. Let me ask you a question. If I hit you over the head with a bat, and I said the plan wasn't to kill you, it's because you had a fly in your head, would you still not go to the police for assault? Does my intention matter? Because that's exactly what you just trying to rude Goldberg. That's exactly what it's just because people are not identifying as trans to basically erode women's sports. That makes it okay. That's exactly what they're doing. This is
you think that's what they're doing?
Let me finish. You know what the issue is?
Women's
you know what the issue is? You know what the issue is? You know what the issue is? There are useful idiots like you that are validating ascientific nonsense. There's no such thing as gender identity. Being trans-identifying is a mental illness, a reality that exists only in your head, should not be validated, and specifically not at the expense of people that are just going about their business trying to win sporting tournament or trying to use.
There's useful idiots like you that are leading to the death of trans people because guaranteed.
You don't want to hurt anyone.
Go to an island where all women think like you, and you can compete with all the biological men you want, but do not impose your backward views on the rest of us and have the audacity to call us regressive.
Okay, Francesca, you respond, and I'll come to James.
My response is this: look, I care more about human life and people. Actually, I care about the right to privacy. I care about people surviving and living in this world. Yes, I do.
You don't seem to care about the right to privacy of biological women not wanting to share their spaces with biological men. What about them?
What about the number of trans youth who commit suicide every single year because
biological women not wanting to share a bathroom with a biological man? Talk about that. Answer that question. What about them? Do they not matter?
Look, lady, you can go into every bathroom and pick a fight with every person who you think is in the wrong bathroom. That's your
If a
prerogative.
man goes into a
I'm
bathroom with
talking
my
about
daughter,
a teenager.
what should I do?
A teenager being booed. Guys, let's not bully, okay? I believe it was Melania Trump who said, "Be best," and we know what bullying leads to. Stephen Miller.
You know what it
Bullying,
is?
okay, but Francesca, I'm going to come to James, but because to me there's conflating two issues. You can absolutely support trans rights, defenders, and equality, as I do and consistently have. But you can also see that there is obviously a massive problem now, increasing now in women's sport. And there's a reason, and we've had this conversation, James, but you gave a preposterous answer last time. There's a reason we separate sexes in the Olympics, in the World Championships, because otherwise women would never win anything.
Look,
right? So that's why we do it. It's not because women aren't great athletes.
Women would never
They're great
win
athletes
anything.
when competing
What a quote
against people
is.
physically born.
Listen,
like
I
that.
have so much to say. I want to explode.
Go on, then.
Firstly, Esther, you're the only thing making anyone angry or incensed right now. So you're causing me a mental health issue. So really, if there's a mental illness, it's actually you. I would like to take a pill
You can all be
to
mentally
remove
unwell
you
together.
from my life.
Yeah. The
Going
gay
back to
bears.
the state here, like most of the female winners in this
So mad.
sport, they are hitting around 22 to 24 seconds, which is exactly what the gold medalist won here. And then also following up with what you said.
What's your
Esther,
point? What's your
the
point?
point is, this is normal for a woman.
No, you're
This is
missing
a
out.
normal speed for a woman
No.
in a race.
You're
But
missing-
let's get back to what you're
No,
saying.
hang
You're
on.
talking about
Hang
women's
on.
safety in
Hang
changing
on.
rooms.
Hang
Let me
on.
finish, please.
On that
You're
point.
talking about women's safety in changing rooms. That's what Esther brought this conversation down to. But what I do know about is that 1 in 3 women in America are abused violently in their lifetime. And in every single day in America, 13,000 women are a victim. Why are we talking about
Excuse
one
me.
trans
Excuse
woman
me.
being in a
How dare
changing
you?
room?
How
Okay.
dare you, a man, say anything about women feeling unsafe
I'm
in
allowed to talk
bathrooms
about safety.
with biological men? No, you can't, because you're not a woman. You have never had a period. You've never been a woman
What
in
I'm
a woman's
saying,
toilet.
Esther, is
So
that
don't
you're
even mention
picking
that.
on one. Well,
I'm not picking on that. I'm talking about the fact that women around the world
Sorry.
are being affected because we're validating
Okay.
a
so
scientific
Robert, you're
evidence.
shouting at biological men.
Hang
Your
on.
words. Why
Hang
am
on.
I? And you're allowed to talk about biological men. So why am I not allowed to talk about women?
Hang on,
Sorry.
hang on. We are conflating various issues here. So let's get back to the actual issue we want to debate.
This one
which
all the
is
way to the right.
issue of this young somersault, Aidan Gallagher. I come back to Tommy here. You know, I know this debate always inspires everyone to get very angry, and there's lots of allegations of
Who's angry?
transphobia.
I'm not angry.
I really think they're missing the central point. There is a reason we separate sexes in sport. And the reason, like I said, when the Olympics are in Paris later this summer, if you allowed women and men to compete in a generalized way, then women would win almost no medals. Literally, other than 1 or 2 events, possibly
We're not
equestrian,
bragging. It's not.
possibly archery. There are very few things which anything that involves power or stamina or
Washing up.
speed or no.
Piers, can I ask you a question really quickly?
Yes.
Because have you ever undergone any kind of like hormone replacement therapy?
Oh, you mean chopped off his penis? Because
No,
that's
I haven't.
Hang on. I'm not talking to you, Esther. Hang on.
Okay.
I'm talking to Piers.
Yeah.
Because actually, the body does undergo an incredible amount of toil.
What it doesn't
when
do,
you actually-
Francesca, I've heard this argument.
Hang on.
It doesn't change. It doesn't change your body mass.
We're promoting drugs
No,
now?
it doesn't.
It does.
No,
it
it doesn't.
absolutely can change your body
No,
mass.
it doesn't.
Absolutely. The
It
amount
doesn't.
of
You
hormones
remain
that
as
can-
muscular.
it
You know, I know
drains-
this. Talk to someone like
It's real.
Caitlyn Jenner,
Yes.
who was, as a man,
Oh my God.
was the decathlon gold medal winner for the United States of America, and was then, when she took up golf, having transitioned, was told she could tee off
Asking Caitlyn
from the
Jenner.
women's tees. Right, the women's tees are 50 yards further ahead than the men's, and she said she was winning every tournament.
Asking Caitlyn Jenner for any advice or practical information is like asking you, Piers, for how to get a 6-pack. Like, what are we doing?
Actually, I've got quite an impressive
Very true.
growing 6-pack as my Instagram feed will tell you. Let me
Your body undergoes a lot of changes.
Let me come to
and it's actually
Tommy.
incredibly difficult to compete.
Point this out.
Tommy.
Piers, I want to point this out because your guests here, I mean, talk about the snake eating its own tail. They're sitting there talking about trans rights and affirming transgender ideology, but then they're saying that Caitlyn Jenner, who is probably the most famous trans person, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
Because Caitlyn Jenner is not only a Republican, but Caitlyn Jenner also calls out biological men competing in women's sports. So your guests sit here and they
Caitlyn
try
Jenner.
to
Trans women.
about trans
Trans women,
rights,
please.
but then they dismiss Caitlyn Jenner. It's amazing. These are also the same people who claim
more.
to be feminists, but also don't care about actual women being robbed of opportunities.
Yeah.
That's why liberalism is a disease, and you can just let these people talk and they argue with themselves, Piers.
The point is, if Aidan Gallagher competed according to their biological sex, they would not be succeeding. They wouldn't be winning state championships. They would actually not even be qualifying for the finals. That is the point everyone's missing.
Piers,
is that actually
why do you care about
women's integrity, women's sport?
But you don't have.
That's where we're going to cut it off. When she says, or anyone says, why do you care about these kids in high school winning a trophy? That is so weak. Like, that's like being mad about having to pay a little bit extra in taxes when we already been paying taxes enough. This is crazy. And I don't even think she really believes herself because of what she said. What do people care? What you mean? You cutting out the change? Force to change a girl's locker room? We got to give kids puberty blockers or adults, so that they can lower their testosterone to be able to compete. This is heavy. We can all be okay in 5 months. Skelly, no. Trump gonna end this, he said. Better keep his word. Let's go.